For weeks now, it seems like the bromance between Donald Trump and Elon Musk has been growing a bit cold. We've been seeing less from Elon. Thank God we've been hearing less from Elon. And he's only a couple weeks out from being fired. But it seems like there was one specific day in which this turning point happened. The day Elon Musk was booted from his meeting about Chinese war plans, something that Donald Trump denied, until a story today revealed just what actually happened and what it means for Donald Trump and Elon's relationship. We are going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, this story was from a couple of weeks ago, but this new reporting brings so much light to their relationship and what is going to happen in the next couple of weeks that we just have to talk about it. But for the context, I want to start with what Tim Walz had to say when the story broke.
Options that be presented to Mr. Trump for decisions. For some reason, they've decided to show Elon Musk this level of detail about a potential war with China while he operates the largest car factory, I believe, in China, and has immense financial interest in that country and contacts with that country's government that he has not disclosed to the U.S. as part of maintaining his security clearance. I just got to get your reaction to that, sir.
Well, speechless would be the word. I don't know how to convey. I don't possess the language ability to convey how far out of the norm this is. Like nothing that people listening, like, look, this is those of us who served, the background checks from the FBI, just to receive clearance as an artillery enlisted soldier was extensive to get that background. And then the level of information that you can get, or as a member of Congress, to be able to have access to this type of information. These are closely guarded secrets because our national and our global defense depends upon them. And once again, we have this, I don't know, the character, the world's richest man with the world's most fragile ego. And I don't understand where the Republicans, where are Lindsey Grahams, where are these people who know how this works to not be terrified of where this is at? And again,
because there are so many scandals in the Trump administration, it's hard to keep them all straight. But you might remember the night that Tim Walz was asked on Rachel Maddow's show about a breaking New York Times story that revealed that Elon Musk was going to be seeing Chinese war plans, our most secure military information, in a meeting at the Pentagon. Now, Tim Walz, as we all were that night, was disgusted by it. I did a video breaking that story down because I was shocked about what a complete overreach this was. But quickly, it was said that that meeting wasn't going to happen. Now, you would assume because the Trump administration freaked out once the information was leaked, but they had a different reason. They said that the meeting wasn't going to happen because it was never on the schedule. They denied. And so before we get into what actually happened, let's hear the lie that Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth were trying to tell.
But it was such a fake story. The New York Times is just as fake as CNN and MSDNC. And anybody read that story, people laughed at that story. Who would do such a thing? And the first thing I did is I called Susie and I called Pete. I said, is there any truth to that? And they said, it's ridiculous. No, he's over there to talk about costs. You might want to address that, Pete. But Elon was over there today to address costs. Doge, thing called Doge, which you've heard about. Pete?
That's exactly right, Mr. President. You pointed out it was a fake story. We pointed out it was meant to sort of undermine whatever relationship the Pentagon has with Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a patriot. Elon Musk is an innovator. Elon Musk provides a lot of capabilities our government and our military rely on, and I'm grateful for that. We welcomed him today to the Pentagon to talk about Doge, to talk about efficiencies, to talk about innovations. It was a great informal conversation. The rest of that reporting was fake. There was no war plans. There was no Chinese war plans. There was no secret plans.
So they were saying that the story was fake. That's what they were going with. Donald Trump said, no, I never said that Elon couldn't go to the meeting after. I never said that he could go to the meeting. There was no meeting. You're lying. Pete Hegseth calling Elon a patriot. That might be the biggest lie of them all. But this was all to defend what the media clearly identified was a rift in their relationship that was forming. And we were right, because a breaking story today shows that not only did Donald Trump kick Elon Musk out of the meeting, but he had some very choice words about how surprised he was that he was attending. What the F is Elon doing there? Trump reportedly killed top-secret China briefing for Musk after New York Times found out. Donald Trump reportedly pulled the plug on a top-secret briefing for Elon Musk after the New York Times revealed the Pentagon officials were set to brief the Doge leader about the plans on any war that the U.S. might have with China. Trump did not want Musk to receive the briefing because of his business entanglements in China. What the F is Elon doing there? Trump said, according to a source identified by Axios as a top official. Make sure he doesn't go. The unnamed official told Axios that Musk has not completely fallen out of favor with Trump, but that the president wants to maintain some guardrails, specifically on matters concerning China. The president still very much loves Elon, okay, but there are some red lines, the official told Axios. Elon has a lot of business in China, and he has a good relationship there, and this briefing just wasn't the right thing. At the time, Trump blasted the New York Times and claimed the story was fake. They said incorrectly that Elon Musk is going to the Pentagon tomorrow to be briefed on any potential war with China, Trump wrote in a March 20th Truth Social post. How ridiculous. China will not even be mentioned or discussed. How disgraceful it is that the discredited media can make up such lies. Anyway, the story is completely untrue. But Axios is reporting today that Trump did not make that public statement until after the briefing had been canceled. On Tuesday, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth suspended top Pentagon officials Dan Caldwell and Darren Selnick as part of an investigation on leaks in the department. So I know that story was from a few weeks ago, but now Pete Hegseth, as a response, is suspending officials who are leaking this information. There is clearly some unrest around the Trump-Elon relationship and how much is leaking out about the access that Elon has, especially as Donald Trump is going to trade war. I was about to say going to war, but going to trade war with China. So is there growing concern about Elon's relationship as the tensions heighten? Could this lead to more fracturing? I don't know. But as Elon is on his way out, it is interesting that this is the dynamic that is at play. And of course, there are many updates, like I said, many scandals happening within the Trump administration that need more coverage. I think the number one story we need to be paying attention to is the disgusting, disgraceful deportation of Abrego Garcia unlawfully. And Chris Hayes gave some great updates on that that I think we should all take a look at.
In fact, Kilmar Abrego Garcia was also an apprentice in the American building trades. This was his American Union president last week.
You want to build a $5 billion data center? Want more six-figure careers with health care retirement and no college debt? You don't call Elon Musk. You call us. North America's building trades unions. And yeah, that means all of us, including our brother, smart apprentice, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who we demand to be returned to us and his family now. Bring him home.
All of us. In a U.S. District Court today in Maryland, Judge Paula Zinnes wanted to know what, if anything, the government was doing to bring him home, pursuant to the order from the Supreme Court, right, requiring the government to facilitate his release from that prison in El Salvador. And the government's answer is, it's El Salvador's problem now. Zinnes was not buying that and has tonight ordered depositions of 4 high-ranking Homeland Security officials. She says holding Trump officials in contempt is not off the table. Now, we don't know what's going to happen here. It's not at all clear the Trump administration will comply. They haven't so far. They seem full speed ahead on expanding this obviously illegal and unconstitutional operation. In fact, as we all heard yesterday, the Trump administration is quite openly talking about sending American citizens to the overseas gulag. The homegrowns, Trump called them yesterday, American citizens.
Is that legal to do? Is that something you're allowed to do?
Well, Jesse, these are Americans who he is saying who have committed the most heinous crimes in our country. And crime is going to decrease dramatically because he has given us a directive to make America safe again.
Well, the short answer is no, it's not something you're allowed to do. That's the Attorney General of the United States. Is that something you're allowed to do? Well, it depends on who's allowing it, right? Are you allowed to do that? Well, you're not by the Constitution. what's happening here, particularly with these renderings to this sort of third state gulag, right, is I have to say already the most egregious assault on personal liberty that I've seen in my American political life. I mean, in my lifetime, it's not really even that close. I mean, Guantanamo was really bad, but again, Guantanamo was plausibly part of the American judicial system, right? This is intentionally outside the orbit of our laws. And it's just part of the effort to dominate every single independent aspect of American life, a sort of full spectrum assault on American liberty. All sorts of institutions, free institutions that do their own thing because we're a free country, like colleges, where a government task force, most of whose members' names are kept secret due to security concerns, is demanding that research universities essentially install political commissars in academic departments and make hiring and admissions decisions so that they are more favorable to MAGA for viewpoint diversity. You may have seen Harvard University said, no, no free society can tolerate this. No free institution can. And in return, the Trump administration announced they would freeze more than $2 billion in federal grants to the university because they want to coerce their freedom of speech and association. But more colleges are already joining Harvard in resisting the government. And that is a welcome sign. People and institutions coming together to fight for actual freedom against a president who hates it, who hates our freedom of speech that enables critics, so he attacks students exercising that speech and the schools that enroll them, and he hates freedom of assembly and association, also in the First Amendment, that lets, for instance, law firms hire anyone they want to hire, including people who prosecuted him. So he writes executive orders extorting those law firms into submission. Again, think about where this is all going. The aspiration here is a vision of American life in which everything is controlled by a single man, a single ruler. And it's not an exaggeration to say it's the literal nightmare of the founders. Right? I mean, all of this is in complete opposition to the most basic bedrock founding principles, our birthright as Americans.
This is the story we have to be talking about. And I'm going to continue to say it. Any Democrat who is afraid to message against this, any Democrat in elected office who is afraid to call this out of fears that maybe immigration isn't our most popular issue, maybe we need to get some message testing, you're useless. I'm just going to keep it real. You're useless if you are not willing to stand up for the human rights that have been violated of Abrego Garcia. Do your job. You are elected to be a leader. Please do so. What Senator Von Hollen is doing is incredibly brave, and we need more brave action like that. We're going to be talking about it on the show every single day, and if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.